Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today, we're taking a look at the next short story in the Unreal and the Real collection by Ursula K, LeGuin, a famous science fiction writer with 8 Hugo Awards. Also has some very impactful fantasy stuff that's very impactful for you folks. It's called The Unreal, and the Real, it's more than 700 pages long. It's got 39 short stories in it. And this one's called Salome's Necklace, and this is a science fiction short story. It's about 22 pages long, and I read it last night in 40 minutes exactly. I started at 8:10 and finished at 8:50. So it was 40 minutes exactly. So it wouldn't take it that long for you to knock it out, despite the oversized print on this collection for you folks. So let's take a look at what I thought of Salome's Necklace for you folks. As a reminder, I keep my reviews spoiler free, so I'm only going to be giving you, what happens in the first few pages. Basically, what happens is that there is this young peasant girl named Salome, who is a granddaughter of a king. She's in the line of a king, but her kingdom lost their money and their way, and so forth. But because of her prestige, she is married by a local noble, and they are on this planet that's set in a galaxy where the humans are basically colonizing the planet. They have some other folks there that are now in charge of it, and there are now 3 local species that she'll interact with, and she's one of them. And she's pretty human in nature, although there are some differences between her species and humans. And she'll interact with the other 2 species on the planet too, for you folks. So basically, what's going to wind up happening is that over about 3 or 4 pages in, she's going to start seeking her lost necklace. It had the most beautiful jewel on the world that I'd ever seen in this necklace setting with this beautiful jewelry and so forth. So she's going to set out to try to find it. Because she believes that if she can do that, first of all, she'll be actually proper for her husband, because she didn't have a dowry and represent her father's dowry. And then secondly, she also believes that she will shine fair and so forth. And it's a pretty selfish reason for her to seek it out. But then she's going to seek out the necklace that this title of the short story is after. And this will be her journey, her odyssey, if you will, to try to find what's happening with the jewels. And we'll have an exploration of the world just like the Odyssey, and we'll have her interact with other people just like the Odyssey. She'll have her realize things about herself and the world around her, just like the Odyssey. And I think that those beats are probably intentional, because this definitely feels like an Odyssey light set in a low-tech world of 3 races of intelligent creatures that are ruled by the humans that are from off-world. And so she will interact with all the other 2 races and as well as humans as a cross of her story, and then things will happen. I like it. I thought it was well written. I enjoyed it, but didn't feel really that gripping. I mean, she's just chasing the necklace for vanity reasons, right? It doesn't feel this particularly gripping or powerful thing. So I'm only going to be giving this Salome's Necklace a 7 out of 10. Even though it's well written, and I like the ending. I thought the ending was great. But I didn't see it coming. But again, it just doesn't have the idea behind it, just doesn't sell me. So there you are. Have you read Salome's Necklace? If so, did you agree or disagree with my 7 out of 10? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. As a reminder, the title of this channel, The Worst Thing About New Books, is a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books is that they kept us from reading the old ones. And so somebody who died, published most of her key stuff decades and decades ago, is definitely in older works. I've done a few things by Ursula K. LeGuin prior to doing this deep dive into this collection for you folks. I did a novel, one of her classics, called The Left Hand of Darkness, about 5 or 6 years ago, and I reviewed it for this channel a couple of years later. I also read a novel for this channel as a part of my bucket list called The Lathe of Heaven, which was one of my top 5 novels that year, if you'll recall. And I loved it. And then I read The Ones That Walk Away from Home Last, a Hugo Award-winning short story in this collection. That's the reason why I bought it. And then we've been doing a deep dive into it. Now we're back in the science fiction side of things. It had 1 fantasy short story, The White Donkey. It had 1 other science fiction short story, The Diary of a Rose, and a few not. But now we're back in the science fiction side of things for you folks. As a reminder, I mentioned how impactful she is. She's very impactful in fantasy, particularly, because she created the young wizard training at a school for wizards. That archetype she created with the Wizard of Earthsea and that Earthsea series, that 6-book series set for young adults, with a similar aged group of folks and so forth, which is heavily read. I read it when I was a kid. I loved it. So that's also a key part of how she's impactful even today, and a beloved figure in science fiction and fantasy. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it in watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.